space for realignment, self-responsibility, and the kind of clarity that changes everything. I am Elizabeth Walter, life coach, EFT tapping specialist, and the author of The Fairy Elephant Effect, and a guide for people ready to stop shrinking and start living from truth. In this podcast, we explore emotional resilience, shifting the stories that no longer serve us, living with more energy, not less, as we grow. We have fantastic guests on the podcast that come along and share their fairy elephant effects. And when you get to choose your next chapter on your own terms. I speak from experience, not theory. And what I share has helped hundreds of others reclaim their power and return to themselves. You won't find fluff or false promises, just real conversations, grounded truths, and honest encouragement. You matter because everything starts and ends with you. Let's begin. Welcome to the Elephant Effect, a space for realignment, self-responsibility, and the kind of clarity that changes everything. I am Elizabeth Walter, life coach, EFT tapping specialist, and the author of The Fairy Elephant Effect, and a guide for people ready to stop shrinking and start living from truth. In this podcast, we explore emotional resilience, shifting the stories that no longer serve us, living with more energy, not less, as we grow. We have fantastic guests on the podcast that come along and share their fairy elephant effects. And when you get to choose your next chapter on your own terms. I speak from experience, not theory. And what I share has helped hundreds of others reclaim their power and return to themselves. You won't find fluff or false promises, just real conversations, grounded truths, and honest encouragement. You matter because everything starts and ends with you. Let's begin. Hello and welcome back to the Fairy Elephant Effect podcast for this week. This week our title is about boundaries, the courage to come home to yourself. And it is available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and all major streaming platforms. Not steaming, streaming. And there will also be an accompanying tapping video which is titled The of Giving to Yourself, which will be on the Lizzie's Insights Coaching YouTube channel. So check that out. You will find the podcast on the channel as well. So last week we explored the idea of being an empath, how sometimes what we call empathy is actually a lifelong time of emotional hypervigilance. The ability to know where you end and other begins is quite often very muddled. So this draining or consuming pattern of people-pleasing is disguised as sensitivity. This week we're going to go a bit deeper and let's talk about boundaries, because true compassion, the grounded, heart-led kind, cannot exist without boundaries. You cannot truly give to others when you are constantly abandoning yourself. So boundaries are how we stop abandoning us. We're important. You matter. It all starts and ends with you. I've walked that path earlier on in my life, and I've coached so many others who have too. We anticipate things. We overfunction. We quietly hope someone will notice, appreciate, or finally reciprocate. Whew, that's a big one. That feels quite heavy in our bodies. It used to in mine. How does it for you? But here's the truth. When you do everything for others, you leave nothing for yourself. And that is not nobility. That is neglect. We often convince ourselves that it is love, that doing it is all what a good person would do, a good partner, a good parent would do. But it is not love. It is martyrdom. It is a disguised form of control. Now, we're not going to go too deeply, but control comes from not trusting that things are going to work out for you. And we may talk about that next week. We will see. It leaves you, that martyrdom, it leaves you feeling resented, depleted, and emotionally starving because you're never, ever getting your needs met. The danger of no boundaries, also, when we do everything for others, we rob them of their own growth. We unintentionally disempower them. We become a bridge with holes, one that doesn't truly support anyone, especially not ourselves. We take on the weight of their lives. And then when things go wrong, we become the scapegoat. Have you felt that? Have you had that backlash because you've done too much for somebody else and they haven't taken self-responsibility and they are also letting you become the person that they can blame? We gave too much and they didn't step up. And now we feel unseen, unappreciated, and used. But there's something I want you to hear clearly. Boundaries don't push people away. Boundaries are the doors. When you have the right boundaries in your life, they allow in what nourishes you and shuts out what depletes you. Boundaries break the addiction to negative emotion. I know that seems counterintuitive, but it's actually the truth. It is totally the truth of what's happening. Boundaries give us the space to meet ourselves again. And if you've ever been seen that you're helping, fixing, rescuing, or performing, then being still, quiet, or simply being you may feel very uncomfortable. But it gives us the opportunity to start hearing our own voice, to recognize that inside, beneath all the noise and neediness, is someone truly worth knowing. So, how's this landing for you? Can you hear some of the stuff that you were doing in this? Are you doing that for you? Are you feeling that this is something that you have done many times? But when you start coming back to you, you actually learn quite quickly if you're invested in this, and I would love you to be invested in coming back to you. You don't need to earn your worth by being useful. You don't need to be anything to anyone to be loved. That's a big one, isn't it? You don't need to be needed to belong. You get to say, I matter, and I always find time for me. How many of us say, I'm too busy, I haven't got time, I don't get a moment's peace? What we are saying, the first person is listening is us. If you start saying, and you might need to say it 20 times a day or 200 times a day, I always find time for me, because that will become a new truth for you. Because your mind will go away and find evidence of that. You can change. If you cannot do anything else from this podcast, I am encouraging you absolutely desperately to say to yourself, I'll always find time for me, because you have such value and you just don't know it yet. I want you to feel it. I want you to connect to it. I always find time for me. Say it 20 times, 200 times, until it becomes your truth, everybody. Because then you will find some time for you. And so let's replace those old things you say with these new truths. Here are some practical examples. 30 minutes for you. Let's ground this into action. Boundaries start small because it's the small things that add up to the big things. It's never just one big thing happens. You don't need to run away to Bali. You need 30 minutes a day where you are the priority. Here are some real life ways to start creating that. Sit outside with your coffee and a notebook. No phone. Jot down the thoughts that are in your head. Don't anchor into them, just jot them down and then let them just float off. It's a great way to see what your monkey mind is saying. Take a 30-minute walk with music that uplifts you. Lie on your bed, do nothing, just breathe. Just lie there, be still. Do 30 minutes of something creative, painting, writing, moving, gardening. Gardening is really good, but no phones. Detach yourself from your phone. Put it on your phone, you can turn it off and say, I'm not available right now. 30 minutes of that in a day could be very powerful, some people. Meditate. Now, there's lots of ways to meditate. Guided meditations. You can do just sitting there and just tune into a thought, a good thought, and just repeat that for 30 minutes. 30 minutes might seem a bit long, so maybe you can mix it up and do 5 minutes of meditation. You could do 15 minutes walk. You could do 10 minutes sitting outside with your notebook. Those 30 minutes have value to you. Use them. Have a guilt-free bath in silence or with calming music. Read a book that fills your cup instead of drains it. Tell your family, friends, yourself, from 7:30 to 8 p.m, whether it's morning or the evening, I'm not available. Do something for you. And here's what might happen. You might feel guilty. That's okay. Because you are separating yourself from all the things that you do for other people, and you are shifting into being, which is perfect. But that's okay. As I said, the tapping is going to be the guilt you're giving to yourself, and we're going to release that guilt. You can rewrite the lie that you have to give, that you are not allowed any time for yourself, because you are not here to be anybody else's power source. You are here to be your own power. So in that journal, here's a couple of reflection questions you could ask yourself, 1 or 2. Where in my life am I giving out energy but not receiving anything in return? That's quite often a good question. What part of me feels scared to say no? Is it a colour? Is it a feeling? Is it a pain? Is it a person you're scared of? What do you think would happen if you said no? Here's another question. What emotions do I unconsciously feed by staying in cycles of overgiving? What emotional fix or charge that are you getting when you overgive? How about, when was the last time I truly listened to myself? What boundary can I create today that would honour my energy? That's a really productive question. And here's the last one. What would my life feel like if I repeated daily, I always find time for me? What space would open up? How would I be in me? So just to close off for today, boundaries are how we come home, back to our own body, back to our own wisdom, back to our own joy. Not everybody will like your boundaries at the beginning, but the right people will respect you. And most importantly, you will begin to respect yourself. You matter. It all starts and ends with you. Thank you very much for joining me again in the Elephant Effect. I look forward to your responses. Have a fabulous week.